Hey, yeah. So this is going to be commentary for chapter 25 of my book Multidimensional, which you can find on Kindle and listen to for free or as an audiobook on Google Play. Links under in the description. Okay, so chapter 25 is called Inconceivable. So, what's inconceivable? Apologies for my voice. I have a bit of a cold. Probably by the time you watch this, I'll be fine. Hopefully. Maybe. Let's not jinx it. So yeah, so after, if you understood everything I've argued so far, you couldn't ask like a legitimate question, which is, why do we take this shit? Like, so if there's something about your life that you don't like, why do we have to live that life? If experience is fundamental, and experience is the thing that mobilizes time, experience decides what body to what is your body, what is your universe, your wakeful universe. If it's your decision, then why in hell should we tolerate pain and discomfort and just situations that we don't like? It's in our power to change it, but so why don't we change it? And if we don't change it, and if we can change it, then how can experience be fundamental? Does this make any sense? Like, so so there are several reasons why things are as they are, why it's okay to assume that experience is fundamental while understanding things as they are. The first one is the thing that I've been repeating, that the wakeful reality is a consensus reality. It's a reality that we share with other experiential agents, and we don't have a sway. We have a sway over our own experiential reality, but we don't have a sway over theirs, because they have the same freedom of the will as we do, and they are the same element as us. So they are in this dimension of experience. So we are kind of locking ourselves into the same semantic context with the same conditions and the same. So there's a limit to how much we can change it, anything in that consensus. But then you can say, okay, so why stay in that consensus? The only reason, we want to interact with other people. That's great, but we don't need to interact with them under their laws. We can set our own wakeful union, separate from them, a separate reality. And why don't we stay there? Why do we take this shit? Insofar as you don't like your life. If you love your life, then you wouldn't ask that question. And that is actually the second justification why it is like that. It is because we want it like that. Of course, we don't want everything, but there's so much that we want in the wakeful reality, and that we are not ready to give away. And if we are to live this wakeful shared wakeful reality, we're gonna lose them. So even the laws of nature, the technology we use, all that stuff is dependent on the stability that is provided by the consensus. So we get both to interact with people, and which we want, which we care about, because so much of the experiential scape, so much of our semantic context is about interactions with other people, without which everything seems bland. There's so much that is missing from isolation, in terms of the things that we want, the things we care about. So that's the second thing. And so instead of like assuming that this is a bit of a switch from what you usually think. Like, you'd usually think that you have like a physical wakeful reality that produces experience and everything in it, and then like there's no choice. But here there is a choice, and it's not just that there is a choice. The choices as they are because we want it, and to some extent. Even take for example, so you think you want to protect your well-being. Well, how many people get exhilarated by risking their lives? it's not just this wanting to ensure well-being. And even if you step close to a ledge of a cliff, something, if you feel that this kind of urge, that you're thinking that maybe I'm going to jump, and you never do it. But if you feel that urge is experience. That urge needs explanation. Like, so what I'm saying is, if we live in a reality which gives us pain, that doesn't mean we don't want that reality to give us pain. Perhaps we want the pain to some extent, not to the extent that it reaches, but in for penny, in for pound sometimes. But there's another reason, which is the name of the chapter, Inconceivable. We're locked into this reality. A great, a significant reason why we are locked into it is because we are afraid of dying. And our fear of death is not just understandable, it just follows from the theory. Like, so what is death? Well, death, as I said, experience is fundamental. If experience is fundamental, you never die. Like, you never experience, it never ends. Death is not the end of experience. But we don't know that. We think our experience is dependent on our bodies being as it is right now. And we think of our options as they are right now in the wakeful union, I'm getting ahead of myself, of the shared reality, the shared wakeful reality. And what death brings us is a realization that it might be the case that it would end, and we cannot fathom that. Like, experience is change. Death is the end of change. There is no way to imagine death, because there is no experiential movement that is death, the concept, not the actual thing. I just explained, it doesn't happen, at least not in the experiential sense. But it can't happen because it's an inversion of what experience is, as the mobilizer of time, as the mobilizer of change. So we are bought into the story that death is possible, and this makes a mess of everything that we plan on doing. Like, and we plan to do anything but reach that, because that would mean that's inconceivable. You just can't deal with that idea, the idea of being nothing, because you can't, not because you make a mistake, because you will never be in that condition, and the thought of being in that condition is inconceivable. Like, instead of, you can't think about death, you can think about your afterlife. You can tell a story about your soul. You can fear it and transform it into expansion movement of fear. You can do all that stuff, all these transformations of this, but you cannot experience it. And the thought that you can experience, that we will experience it, is, again, it's inconceivable. So you do anything you can not to reach that point. That's a trick that the body pulls on us. But we like our bodies, so